most wanted assassin, the galaxy feared one name. She was the shadow in the dark, the whisper that made generals nervous, the assassin who never failed. Her face was on every wanted poster across 100 star systems. Her bounty was higher than the treasure vault of 3 planets combined. To some, she was a ghost. To others, she was death itself. But tonight, death was running. Her black ship tore across the void, chased by a swarm of bounty hunters. Red lasers cut the dark space like knives. Explosions followed her tail, shaking her vessel. Inside, alarms screamed. Smoke filled the cockpit. She pressed broken buttons, her sharp eyes never blinking. She was wounded. Blood stained her armor. But she refused to stop. "Target locked," a hunter shouted over comms. Missiles roared toward her. She rolled her ship hard, almost colliding with an asteroid. The explosion lit up the rocks. Her engine sparked. She cursed under her breath but kept fighting. With cold skill, she fired back. One hunter ship exploded into pieces. Another spun out of control. Yet for every enemy she destroyed, more appeared. The galaxy wanted her dead, and it would not rest. Her ship shook again, systems failing. She had minutes left before the hunters closed in. She set course for the nearest planet, a forgotten human colony at the edge of known space. It was not part of the great empires. It was small, quiet, hidden. Maybe the hunters would not dare to follow her there. Maybe. The ship burned as it entered the planet's atmosphere. She fought the controls, teeth clenched. Flames covered the hull. At last, with a violent crash, the ship fell into the forest beyond the colony's farmlands. Silence followed. Smoke rose into the night. Inside the wreck, she crawled out, her body broken but alive. Her mask cracked, revealing a face both beautiful and dangerous. Her eyes glowed with cold fire. She touched the blood on her side, then staggered into the shadows of the trees. She knew hunters would soon track the crash. She had to move, but her strength was fading. She fell to the ground. For the first time in years, the galaxy's deadliest assassin could not stand. Darkness closed around her vision. She thought this was the end. Footsteps approached. A man in simple clothes, carrying a lantern, walked carefully through the trees. He was human, tall, with a soldier's posture, though his hands looked rough from farming. His eyes scanned the smoke and fire. Then he saw her. He froze. He knew that face. Everyone did. She was the most wanted assassin in the galaxy. Her bounty could make him rich beyond imagination. But as he stepped closer, he saw the blood, the broken armor, the faint breath of someone who was no longer the hunter, but the hunted. She opened her eyes weakly, staring at him. For a moment, neither moved. He could end her life right there. He could call the authorities. He could turn her in and be celebrated as a hero. Instead, he lowered the lantern, knelt beside her, and whispered to himself, "Why am I doing this?" He lifted her up, carrying her heavy armor on his back. She tried to resist, her hand twitching toward a hidden blade, but she was too weak. The world blurred as he carried her through the dark forest, toward his small home at the edge of the colony. Behind them, in the sky, lights appeared. Bounty hunter ships were already entering the atmosphere, searching. The assassin closed her eyes, fighting unconsciousness. The last thought in her mind was not of killing or running. It was confusion. Why would a human save her? The human shelter. The night was silent when the man carried her into his small farmhouse. The wooden door creaked as he pushed it open with his shoulder, still holding the assassin's broken body. His home was simple. A table, 2 chairs, a small fire. Nothing here spoke of war or danger. It was a place of peace. He laid her down carefully on the bed in the corner. She stirred, her hand brushing against the knife hidden under her armor. But her strength failed again. She could only whisper one word, her voice sharp even in weakness. "Why?" The man did not answer. He only brought water, cleaned her wound, and wrapped it in cloth torn from his own shirt. He was no doctor, but he worked with steady hands. Hours passed. The firelight flickered across her face. For the first time in years, she was not running, not fighting. She was trapped in something far stranger, safety. When the assassin finally woke, the man sat at the table, sharpening a farming tool. His eyes lifted to meet hers. They were calm, steady, unafraid. "You should be dead," he said quietly. Her voice was like a blade, cold and dangerous. "You should have let me die." He leaned back, resting the tool down. "Maybe, but I didn't." She tried to rise, but pain forced her back. Anger flashed in her eyes. "Do you know who I am?" "I know," he said. "The whole galaxy knows." "Then you're a fool." Her tone cut like steel. "They'll come for me, and they'll kill anyone who helps me." He shrugged, his face unreadable. "Then I'll deal with it when they come." The assassin stared at him, confused. No one had ever spoken to her like that. No fear, no trembling, just calm acceptance, as if her presence was no more dangerous than the rain outside. Before she could speak again, a sound broke the silence. A knock at the door. The man's eyes narrowed. He stood slowly, motioning for her to stay down. He pulled on his jacket, covering the faint bloodstains on his shirt, and walked to the door. Outside stood 2 colony soldiers. Their armor was dusty, their rifles ready. One spoke with a hard voice. "Did you see anything fall from the sky?" The man shook his head. "No, just another quiet night." The soldiers looked past him, into the house. He stood firm, blocking their view. "Strange," the soldier muttered. "Scanners picked up wreckage near here." The man forced a small smile. "You think wreckage landed in my fields? You'd see the fire from miles away." The soldiers hesitated, suspicious. Then one leaned closer. "If you see anything, report it. You'll be rewarded." "I'll keep my eyes open," the man said. The soldiers left, their boots heavy on the dirt. The door shut with a slow thud. Inside, the assassin was gone from the bed. The man's heart raced. He turned, searching, until he felt the cold edge of a blade at his neck. She stood behind him, her strength somehow returned, her eyes burning with suspicion. "Why did you lie for me?" she hissed. "Why protect me from them?" The blade pressed lightly against his skin, but he did not flinch. "Because," he said softly, "I don't like hunters." Her eyes narrowed. Her grip on the blade trembled. This human was unlike anyone she had met. No greed, no fear, no reason. The assassin slowly lowered the knife, though her confusion only deepened. She had lived her life in shadows, built on blood and betrayal. Yet here in a small house on a forgotten colony, a simple man had chosen to save her. For the first time in years, she did not know what to do next. Danger inside the house. The assassin did not sleep that night. She sat in the shadows of the farmhouse, her blade resting across her knees. Every sound, the wind against the walls, the crackle of the fire, felt like a threat. She had survived countless battles, but this silence felt more dangerous than war. The man had gone to rest in the next room, trusting her far more than she trusted him. She studied the door between them. She could kill him in seconds. She could disappear into the forest before sunrise. That was what the old her would have done. But something held her back. When dawn came, the colony stirred outside. Farmers moved in the fields. Children ran between houses. The assassin had not seen a place so normal in years. No soldiers, no blood, just simple life. She almost hated it. The man returned, carrying bread and a jug of water. He placed them on the table as if nothing was strange. "You need to eat," he said. She stared at him, suspicious. "Do you know how many I have killed?" "Yes," he answered, calm as ever. "But you're not killing anyone here, so eat." His calmness unsettled her more than any army. She cut the bread with her blade, then tasted it. It was plain, warm, human food. For a brief moment, it reminded her of a life she never had. The peace shattered when a sharp alarm echoed through the valley. The man stiffened. Scanners. Outside, colony security drones buzzed over the fields, searching the skies. The crash site must have been found. Soon soldiers would spread through the area. The assassin's hand tightened on her blade. "They'll come here," she whispered. The man moved quickly. He opened a hidden door in the floor, a trapdoor leading to a narrow cellar. "Down there," he ordered. She hesitated. "You trust me with your life, yet you lock me underground?" "I'm giving you a chance to survive," he said firmly. "Take it." For the first time in her life, she obeyed someone else's command. She climbed down into the dark cellar. The trapdoor closed above her. She waited in silence, her heart steady but sharp. Through the cracks in the floorboards, she heard voices. Soldiers had arrived. "Open the door," one barked. The man obeyed. Boots thudded against the floorboards. Metal scraped as rifles shifted. "We tracked the crash. It's close," a soldier said. "We're searching every house." The assassin gripped her blade tighter. If they came closer, if they opened the cellar, blood would flow. Above, the man's voice was calm. "You've searched once already. Nothing here." The soldiers didn't believe him. Footsteps moved across the floor, heavy and deliberate. One stopped directly above her. She could see the shadow of his boots through the cracks. The soldier muttered, "Strange, feels hollow here." Her body tensed. She could already see the strike in her mind. Leap from the cellar, cut him down, fight through the room. She was ready. But before she could move, the man spoke again. His voice carried no fear. "That's where I keep my grain." You want to waste time looking at dirt? The soldier grunted. A moment of silence passed, then footsteps retreated. Fine, one said, but keep your eyes open. If you see anything, you report it. The door shut. Boots marched away. Minutes passed before the trapdoor opened again. The man looked down at her. His face was pale, but his eyes still calm. They're gone, he said. She climbed up, her blade still ready. She wanted to curse him for risking both their lives, but instead she only asked, "Why? Why keep lying for me?" He met her gaze without blinking. Because everyone deserves one chance, even you. Her grip loosened on the blade. She had been called a monster, a killer, a shadow. Never before had someone looked at her and spoken the word chance. But before she could reply, a sudden sound cut through the morning air, a signal, a hunter's beacon echoing from the forest. They were closing in. The hunt comes closer. The beacon's signal echoed through the valley like a drumbeat of death. It was short, sharp, and coded. To the assassin's trained ear, it was clear. Bounty hunters had landed. They were spreading out, scanning every tree, every field. The noose was tightening. She stood by the farmhouse window, watching small lights move in the distance. Hunters' helmets glowing red in the dark. She knew their style, ruthless, patient. They would not leave until they found her. "You should leave me," she told the man. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were cold. "If they discover me here, your life is over." The man leaned against the wooden doorframe, his arms folded. "If they come, they'll find me anyway. Hunters don't ask questions. They burn until nothing's left." She turned to face him fully. "Then you are a fool." "Maybe," he said. His tone was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "But if I was a smart man, I would have left you in the dirt last night." Silence filled the room. For once, the assassin had no answer. A sudden crash outside shattered the quiet. The barn doors had been broken open. Boots stomped inside, metal clanking as hunters searched. Their voices carried. "Scan for life forms. She's here. I can smell it." The assassin reached for her blade, but the man held up a hand. "No, not yet." He opened the trapdoor again. "Stay low. Stay hidden. Let me handle this." Her eyes narrowed. "You'll die." "Maybe," he replied, "but maybe they'll believe me." Against every instinct, she obeyed. She slipped back into the cellar, crouching in the shadows, blade ready. Above, she heard the door slam open. Hunters stormed in. Their armor was black, scarred, decorated with trophies of past kills. One of them slammed the man against the wall. "Where is she?" the hunter growled. The man's voice was calm. "Who?" "Don't play games." "The assassin. We tracked her ship. The wreck is close." The man kept his breathing steady. "I heard the crash, but no one came here. You can search." Heavy boots marched across the floor. One hunter kicked open cabinets, another smashed plates on the table, a third slammed his rifle butt against the cellar trapdoor. The assassin's grip tightened on her blade. Her heart was steady, but her muscles were ready to strike. The hunter above sneered. "Hollow floor. You hiding something?" The man didn't flinch. "Grain. You want to dig in the dirt? Go ahead. You'll find rats, not your assassin." For a long moment, silence. Then the leader snarled, "If you're lying, farmer, we'll gut you first." The hunters stormed out, their boots pounding against the ground as they moved toward the next house. The door slammed shut. The cellar opened again. The man exhaled slowly, his face pale with tension. "They're not convinced. They'll be back." The assassin climbed out, her eyes burning with something strange. Not anger, not fear, something else. "You lied for me again," she said. Her voice was sharp, but softer than before. He looked at her, tired but steady. "You think I'd hand you over? After saving you once?" Her lips pressed together. She wanted to argue, to remind him of the blood on her hands, the lives she had taken. But the words never came. Instead, she turned toward the window. Hunters' lights still moved in the forest. They were setting up traps, slowly pulling the colony into their net. Then she saw something she had not expected. A child ran across the field. The man's daughter, chasing after a stray animal before being pulled back inside by a worried neighbor. The assassin froze. Her blade slipped slightly in her hand. Memories flashed. A life long buried, a past she had tried to erase. For the first time in years, her mask of ice cracked. The man saw her expression and said not, "King." But in his silence, she understood the truth. He wasn't protecting her for the bounty or for pity. He was protecting his home, his people, his family. A deal with the assassin. The assassin stood at the window, her sharp eyes following the hunters' patrol lights. Every step they took brought them closer to the farmhouse. Every trap they set made escape harder. She could slip away into the night, vanish as she had done 100 times before. But when she thought of leaving, her gaze returned to the small home, the man, and his daughter. For the first time in her life, her instincts were divided. The man placed a kettle on the fire, his movements calm despite the danger outside. "They won't give up," he said quietly. "Hunters like these, they'll tear the colony apart if they think you're here." Her voice was sharp. "Then let them come. I'll kill them all." He turned to her, his eyes steady. "And when you're done, more will follow, and more after that. You can't fight the whole galaxy." She crossed her arms, her face like stone. "It's all I've ever done." "Then maybe it's time you tried something else." She narrowed her eyes. "Like what? Hiding forever in your cellar?" "No," he said. He poured the hot water into 2 cups, though only he drank. "Not hiding, waiting, planning, making them think you're gone." She tilted her head, studying him. "Why would you help me? You owe me nothing." The man leaned closer. "I don't trust the hunters. They destroy everything in their path. If helping you means protecting my colony, then I'll do it." Her hand tightened around the hilt of her blade. His logic was strange, but not foolish. She had never heard anyone speak of her survival as something beyond herself. Always it was bounty, power, or fear. But this man, he spoke of protecting others. Before she could answer, a faint sound came from outside, a voice amplified by Hunter Tech. "Assassin," the call echoed through the valley. "We know you're here. Surrender and the colony will be spared. Refuse and we burn it all." The assassin's lips curled into a bitter smile. "They know me too well. Mercy has never been their way." The man's jaw tightened. His hand rested on the table, close to the farming tool he had sharpened earlier. "Then we need a plan." Her eyes flashed. "You would fight with me?" He met her gaze without fear. "I'll do what I must, but only if you promise something in return." She raised a brow. "And what is that?" "That you don't harm my people, not my daughter, not anyone here. You live because I chose to save you. Now you must choose to protect us." His words struck her harder than any blade. She had lived as a shadow, answering to no one, yet here was a simple human asking for her word. Slowly, she sheathed her weapon. "A deal then. I stay. I fight. But your colony does not command me." "You don't need commands," he replied. "You just need a reason." Their eyes locked. For the first time, the assassin felt something strange. Not weakness, not hesitation, but a pull she could not name. Suddenly, movement flickered in the forest, shapes emerging from the trees, hunters spreading wider, their weapons glowing in the night, and at their head, a figure she knew too well. Her chest tightened. It was him. The one who had betrayed her, the ally who had sold her location to the highest bidder. His face was lit by the glow of his armor, his smile cruel. He raised a hand, signaling his hunters forward. The assassin's grip tightened on her blade. Her voice dropped to a whisper, filled with fury. "Betrayal walks among us." Betrayal's shadow. The assassin's eyes locked on the figure in the forest. His armor gleamed silver under the pale moonlight, marked with scars of battles they had once fought together. His face was older, sharper, but she knew it instantly. Core. Once he had been her partner, the only one who could keep up with her speed, the only one she trusted to watch her back. They had killed side by side, vanished into shadows together, shared stolen victories. In another life, she might have called him friend. Now, he was her enemy. "You know him," the man said quietly, standing at her side. Her grip on her blade tightened. "He was the last person I trusted, and he sold me." Core's voice carried across the fields, amplified by Hunter Tech. "You can't hide, old friend. You're bleeding, broken. This time, you don't walk away." The hunters behind him spread out, their rifles aimed at the farmhouse. Their red lights cut through the mist like glowing eyes. The assassin's jaw tightened. "He won't stop until I'm dead." The man's voice was low, steady. "Then we use his hunger against him." She turned sharply. "You speak as if you fought hunters before." He said nothing, but the look in his eyes told her enough. His past was not as simple as a farmer's life. Outside, Kor stepped forward, his smile cruel. I gave you every chance. I warned you the galaxy wouldn't let you live forever. Did you think you could vanish into shadows again? That was your mistake. You should have killed me when you had the chance. Her heart burned with rage. Old memories flashed, missions they had shared, nights spent plotting, times when she had saved his life without question. And now he stood here, leading her hunters, ready to collect her bounty. She wanted to rush out, to carve her blade into his chest, but the man's voice cut through her fury. Wait, that's what he wants. If you fit... Right now the colony burns. Think, choose the battlefield. Her eyes narrowed. The assassin had always trusted her instincts, never anyone else. But this human, this calm, stubborn man, was asking her to trust him. For the first time, she hesitated. The hunters began moving closer, their boots heavy on the soil. One of them lifted a scanner. Reading heat signatures inside the house, Kor raised his hand. Surround them. The assassin whispered, He's tightening the trap. The man leaned close, his words firm. Then we need to break it, but not by rage, by control. She looked at him, truly looked at him. No fear, no greed, just conviction. Something she had never seen in the galaxy's cutthroats and liars. Slowly, she lowered her blade. Not surrender, patience. Through the window, her eyes met Kor's. For a heartbeat, their past hung between them. Battles fought, blood spilled, trust broken. Kor smirked. I see it in your eyes. You're weaker now. That human won't save you. When I'm done, I'll burn this colony and bury your name forever. Her lips curved into a cold, dangerous smile. You always did talk too much, Kor. The man turned to her. We'll fight when the time is right. Until then, follow my lead. It was madness. She, the galaxy's most feared assassin, taking orders from a human farmer. Yet something inside her, something she didn't understand, made her nod. Outside, hunters spread like wolves around the farmhouse. Kor raised his rifle, his voice echoing in the night. This ends tonight. The assassin's eyes burned with fire, her rage under control but alive. She whispered to herself, No, Kor, tonight it begins. Last stand of humanity. The colony was awake. Bells rang through the valley, warning of the ships above. Farmers ran from their fields, families rushed into shelters, and children clung to their parents in fear. Every face turned to the sky, where massive shadows blotted out the stars. The galactic fleet had arrived. The assassin stood outside the broken farmhouse, her cloak torn, her blade still dripping with the blood of hunters. She had faced armies before, but never to protect others, never for something greater than herself. Beside her, the man leaned against the wall, his wound bandaged, his rifle still in hand. His face was pale, but his eyes were steady. They're not here to take you, he said. They'll burn everything just to make sure you're gone. She looked at him, her voice like steel. Then they will learn what happens when fire meets shadow. His lips curved into a faint smile. You sound almost human. Her eyes narrowed. Careful, I'm still dangerous. Good, he replied. We'll need dangerous tonight. The colony council gathered quickly in the central square. Fear filled the air. Old men shouted about surrender. Young farmers wanted to fight. Mothers begged for safety. Then the assassin stepped forward. Her presence silenced the crowd. Faces turned pale, some in fear, some in awe. They knew who she was, the most wanted killer in the galaxy, and she was standing among them. You hate me, she said coldly. I don't blame you. I have killed more than you can imagine. But the fleet above will not stop with me. They will erase this colony because you gave me shelter. Whether you wish it or not, your fight has already begun. Her words cut through the fear. Whispers spread through the crowd. The man limped forward, his hand resting on his rifle. She's right. Hunters don't leave survivors. If we do nothing, we're finished. But if we fight together, we have a chance. An old farmer shouted, Against warships? Against fleets? We're nothing. The man's voice rose, firm and steady. We're not nothing. We're human. And we know how to fight when our homes are on the line. The assassin watched him, her sharp eyes unreadable. He spoke with no armor, no throne, no power. And yet his words stirred the crowd more than fear ever could. One by one, heads nodded. Tools became weapons. Drones were armed. Hidden bunkers opened, revealing supplies long kept for emergencies. For the first time, the assassin saw a colony ready to stand. Not for her, but for themselves. Night deepened. The sky glowed red as the fleet's engines lit the heavens. Dropships prepared to descend, carrying soldiers and machines of war. The assassin and the man stood on the hill above the colony, looking out at the fields below. "You should still run," he said quietly. She shook her head. "Running is all I've ever done. Tonight, I fight." He studied her face, searching for the killer the galaxy feared. Instead, he saw something different, not mercy, but purpose. "Then we fight together," he said. Her blade gleamed in the firelight. Together. In the distance, the first dropships broke through the clouds, their engines roaring. The ground shook. Children cried. The colony braced itself. The assassin's heartbeat was steady, her mind sharp. She had faced impossible odds before, but never like this. Never with so much at stake. The man loaded his rifle, his voice calm. "They don't know what humans can do when we're cornered." She glanced at him, her lips curving into a small, dangerous smile. "Then let's show them." Above, the fleet spread across the sky like a storm. Below, a forgotten colony stood ready. The last stand of humanity had begun. The assassin's redemption, the sky burned with fire. Dropships descended like falling stars, their engines shaking the earth. The colony fields lit up as soldiers poured out, armored and armed, their weapons glowing red. Behind them, the fleet hung heavy in the night, massive warships blotting out the stars. The assassin stood on the hill, her blade gleaming silver. At her side, the man gripped his rifle, his wound bound, but his spirit unbroken. Around them, the colony had gathered. Farmers with old guns, workers with makeshift weapons, children hidden deep in shelters. Humanity was ready to fight, and so was she. "Stay close," she told the man. He smirked faintly. "I was going to say the same to you." The first wave struck. Soldiers advanced in tight formation, firing in perfect rhythm. Plasma bolts lit up the night, tearing into the soil. The assassin moved like lightning, weaving through the fire. Her blade cut down the front line before they even realized she was there. She was a shadow again, but this time, not for money or fear. This time, she fought for something greater. The man fired beside her, his aim steady, every shot counting. Together, they formed an impossible line against the storm. But the numbers were endless. For every soldier who fell, 2 more stepped forward. Machines rolled from the dropships, heavy walkers with guns mounted high. Their metal feet shook the earth. The assassin's eyes narrowed. "We can't hold them forever." "Then we don't," the man said. "We bleed them. We show them humans don't break." His words lit a fire in her chest. She had always believed strength meant standing alone. Now she saw another kind of strength. Shared, unyielding, human. The battle raged on. Fields burned, smoke filled the air, and the colony fought with desperate fury. Hunters screamed in frustration as their prey refused to fall. And then Kor appeared. He stepped from the flames like a ghost of her past, his silver armor shining, his rifle aimed at her heart. His voice carried through the chaos. "This is where it ends, old friend. Not in shadows, but in fire." The assassin stepped forward, blade raised. Her voice was sharp, cold. "You betrayed me once. Never again." They clashed in the center of the battlefield. Steel against steel, speed against rage. Every strike echoed with their history. Missions fought, trust broken, lives stolen. Kor fought with skill, but the assassin fought with purpose. Her blade cut through his guard, slicing his weapon in two. With a final strike, she brought him to his knees. His eyes widened in shock. "You've changed." Her voice was steady, filled with something new. "No, I've chosen." And with one clean motion, she ended it. The battlefield froze. Hunters faltered, seeing their leader fall. The assassin stood tall, her blade dripping fire and blood. For the first time, she was not a ghost, not a shadow, not a weapon. She was something more. The man raised his voice, shouting across the colony lines. "They bleed like we do! Fight them back!" A roar rose from the humans. With sudden courage, they pushed forward, driving the remaining soldiers back to their ships. Smoke filled the sky, flames tore across the fields, but the colony still stood. The fleet above hesitated. Perhaps they feared losing more. Perhaps they realized this fight was no longer worth the cost. One by one, the warships pulled away, engines rumbling as they retreated into the dark void. Silence fell. The assassin stood among the wreckage, her body scarred, her armor broken. The man limped to her side, his rifle hanging loose. He looked at her, his voice low. You saved us. Her eyes turned to him, fierce yet strangely soft. No, we saved us. For the first time, she felt something she had never known. Not victory, not survival, redemption. The colony gathered, staring at her with fear, awe, and something else, respect. A human's choice. The farmhouse was broken. Smoke drifted through shattered windows, the smell of fire clinging to the air. Outside, hunters regrouped, their voices sharp in the night. Inside, the assassin knelt beside the man, pressing cloth against his wound. Blood stained her hands. She had taken countless lives without hesitation, yet now, saving one felt harder than all the killing she had ever done. Stay still, she ordered. The man gave a faint smile. You don't sound used to helping people. Her jaw tightened. I'm not. His eyes searched hers, steady even in pain. Then why now? She had no answer. Her blade had always been her only truth. Survival, contracts, shadows. That was her life. But this man, this strange human who risked everything for her, had cracked something inside her armor. The assassin looked at the cloth in her hands, soaked red. You saved me once. Now I return it. That's all. But even as she said it, her voice trembled with something unfamiliar. The man chuckled weakly, then coughed. If that's true, you could have left me to die. Hunters would have spared you more time. Her eyes burned. Do not test me. I could still walk away. Then why haven't you? His voice was quiet, but his question struck like a blade. She stared at him, her thoughts silent. In all her years, she had never stopped to question why she lived the way she did. Now, with a wounded human at her side, she could not ignore it. Outside, hunters shouted orders. They were regrouping for another assault. The assassin's instincts screamed at her. Kill, escape, survive. But something deeper whispered a different path. The man gritted his teeth, forcing himself to sit up despite the pain. He reached for his rifle. I can still fight. She pushed him back down with surprising gentleness. No, you've done enough. His brow furrowed. Enough? My colony is in duel. Anger, my daughter. Her eyes flickered. That word, daughter, pierced deeper than any wound. She remembered the child she had seen running through the fields. Innocent, fragile, alive. For a moment, she saw her younger self, before the shadows claimed her. The assassin stood, her blade in hand. Her voice was sharp, but her eyes softer than before. Then I will fight for them. For her. The man looked at her, confusion mixing with respect. Why? You don't owe us anything. Her lips curled into a bitter smile. Maybe I owe myself something. Silence filled the broken house. For the first time in her life, she felt the weight of choice, not forced by contracts or survival, but by her own will. She turned to the window. In the distance, fire burned across the forest. And beyond the flames, higher in the sky, lights shimmered. Not just hunters, not just patrol ships. A fleet. The assassin's breath caught. She knew those formations. Galactic warships, heavy cruisers, entire squadrons. The Council itself had sent forces. This was no longer a hunt. It was an extermination. The man followed her gaze, his face pale. They'll burn the colony. She clenched her fist around her blade. The Council had chased her across worlds, but never had she cared what they destroyed in the process. Until now. Her voice was cold, steady. Then we make our stand here. The man shook his head. You can still run. Her eyes burned with fire. Not this time. She stepped back toward him, kneeling once more. She pressed the rifle into his hands. You said everyone deserves one chance. Perhaps this is mine. He looked at her, wounded but unbroken. Then you'd better not waste it. For the first time, the assassin gave him something close to a smile. Sharp, small, but real. And above them, the sky thundered with the engines of the fleet, blotting out the stars. But high above, far beyond the stars, unseen eyes watched. A shadow,